Welcome, everybody, to the Outside Noise podcast. Today we're talking about albums that came out in the month of August.
Yes, it's our Album of the Month podcast. We are going to pit all of our winners of Album of the Week over the past month against each other and figure out who will win.
And because of the way that the calendar penciled out this month, we have 5 entries.
They're all very, very strong, too. There's a lot of great stuff to pick from this month.
Except for... No, I'm just kidding.
What?
No, they are.
Usually we just do these chronologically.
Yeah, we can just do them chronologically.
Yeah.
That's probably... Okay, so the first week was... We do these based on the Friday, since most new music comes out on Fridays. So the music release week that ended on Friday the 2nd, our pick for album of the week was An Appeal to Cats in the Business of Love by Trent Liptak.
Mm-hmm.
On the week that ended on the 9th, it was Vita Blue by Mamalik. On the week that ended on the 16th, it was Body Melt in the Garden of Death by Austin Wohlers. The week that ended in the 23rd, it was American Standard by Uniform. And on the week that ended on the 30th, it was Last Glow of the Laurel by Roxy Radcliffe. Yeah, so I guess we can just go chronologically with more in-depth knowledge. So An Appeal to Cats in the Business of Love by Trent Liptak. This is probably the one I have like a least well-formed opinion on, honestly.
This is one that we actually ended up not doing a review for. We even talked about doing a retrospective when we covered it that week on the podcast, but it ended up just slipping through the cracks.
Yeah, I think that might have been when Julie and I were out of town or something. But
I have the footage whenever we're
ready
to go.
So we didn't release a lot of reviews the week that came out, and so that is a big oopsie on our part. But yes,
I think this was a Julia Kalin vote that won out. Michael, I would agree that I'm not very well versed in this one.
This record was really cute. This was like...
It is
It's very sweet. You can tell looking at the album cover that this is a great time.
Yes, this one kind of played in like bedroom pop, indie rock. In a way, I mean, I know that those genres have kind of had their heyday, but this calls back to it and it feels nostalgic, but not like leaning too hard into that. You know, it still kind of does its own thing in that space.
Yeah, it borrows from a lot of more popular production styles right now, I think.
Yeah, and lyrically, it's very vulnerable. I think it's kind of a breakup album at its heart. Mm-hmm. It opens with this really cute poem that the album gets its name from as well, and it's just about like being toxic for each other, that kind of like teenage relationship right before you go to college. And it just, like, when it's the most, like, devastating thing that's ever happened to you is breaking up with your, like, high school sweetheart. And just, like, those big, big emotions that you only feel when you're, like, a teenager.
Yeah, it's got a lot of, like, borrowed literature in it, too. I think the first song, the second or third one, and one of the last ones, I can't remember.
Yeah, there's I think there's track that
3
is
years,
interpolated.
it's 2.
There's just the one poem, it looks like.
Oh, I thought it had 2.
No, but this was great. We don't cover a ton of stuff that's just like straightforward, like indie. But this was really approachable and felt really special and definitely made with love.
Yeah. It was very cute. I think above all else, that was what stuck with me. Very, like you said, it's quaint how like an 18-year-old like feels all these things, but it does not feel that way when you are in that position, and we've all been there.
It's just the like small town romances and like all of your friends moving away, and just that like snapshot of like 3 months of your life that feels so defining. That end up, I mean, you look back and it doesn't really make that big of a difference in the long term, because you go and you make new friends in college and you know have
that's just it, and it's just downhill forever. But we'll get to that, I guess.
I think we probably have another album that's like a downhill forever album on this list.
Okay, do we have any more on?
I think that's pretty much it. Maybe this will be inspiration for us to finally write that retrospective.
Yes.
We, like Julia said, we have very cute footage of us petting very evil cats at a local cat cafe. So
we went to a cat cafe where they were all evil.
fucked up and evil cats.
It was not normal.
It was very fun. It was the Lynchian cat cafe.
Not
It was,
necessarily the business of love. you
Right.
could say.
Yeah.
But it was really
Right.
it was cute in its own way because it was like all of them.
I think that's how
Yeah.
cats
All
show
of them.
love. I think that's the point of this album
No.
to an extent. Not always.
Well, yeah, not always. I mean, there's. Was that the one with the squeaker zone?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a big like caution sign on the wall that said "Caution Squeaker Zone," and it had a picture of a very upset-looking cat. And then next to it was the exact same cat making the exact same pose and face. And I tried to pet him, and he scratched me.
That's his zone. You
Didn't
can't
even
go
get
there.
to like I just walked up and he leaned out and swatted at me.
Oh my
It
god.
was really It
It
was
was-
like
it
that's
was-
exactly what I thought was gonna happen.
It was very cute, but it was a little out of control. Somebody called the store while we were there and was trying to negotiate a return for their poorly behaved cat.
You
Oh
can't
my
return a cat.
My
That's
God.
not an option.
Yeah,
right?
that's what they said. Yeah, they were like, so here's some resources. Apparently, there's some app that connects people who are giving away cats to people who want a cat.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that was what they recommended.
They're like,
But-
you need to call the ASPCA.
Right,
Yeah.
and then that was the next thing they said.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
It's like,
anyway.
well, you bought a cat, so anyway.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
They probably met the cat before.
I know, it's like you came to the fucked up cat cafe. Like what
Yeah,
did you think was
should have
gonna
gone to the
happen?
normal cat cafe
Literally.
if you don't have the mental fortitude to deal with the fucked up cat.
Oh
we
my
went to like
God.
3 others and they were all like normal.
They were very sweet. The cats were very nice. I mean, they would scratch you if you violated their boundaries, but it was pretty easy not to get scratched. Anyway, so yeah, much like this album, very temperamental.
Also
but yeah,
just fighting each other.
we saw cat fights in the
Yeah,
cat cafe.
there,
Oh
there
my
were
God.
multiple, lots of. Anyway,
Yeah. Okay, so in chronological order, the next album
Yeah,
that came
yeah.
out after that and that won an Album of the Week contest was Vita Blue by Mamalik.
Hell yeah.
I think I was a big proponent of this one. I think Julia voted with me on it.
I think I may have ended up switching my vote, but I do not recall.
I don't remember.
Well, you should have because it was awesome, and it might be the one that I run with for this Album of the Month.
okay,
For sure.
spoiler.
debate. Sorry, I just love it that much. I mean, when you hear me talk about it, you would have already kind of inferred that. It's and we stay tuned. We might devote an entire YouTube video to just this album, so maybe I shouldn't go into too much detail. But it's a band that used to be like a lo-fi black metal group and have slowly branched out from there. They did some like related things. They did like sludge metal, they did like black and roll, like that sort of vibe. And then in their last couple albums, they've just been dropping the metal altogether. And now they are this very strange, one-of-a-kind progressive rock group. But even progressive rock, it's like, don't think like Pink Floyd.
Yeah, no, not at
Yeah.
all.
Like-
I mean, this has influences too from like jazz noir and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
where else they're pulling stuff from. I mean, it's really unlike a lot of the other stuff.
Right.
That I've heard.
Exactly. Jazz Noir is a fantastic reference to pull because that is 100%. This album, I would say, it feels more jazzy than it feels metallic at this point.
I would definitely agree. Yeah.
And it, so it just pulls from a huge array of influences. It's very, very emotionally intense. This is a fully anonymous band. I don't even think they've been like doxxed in any meaningful way. So I think for the most part, people in the scene, unless you live in the Bay Area and play in the music scene and know these people, you probably don't know who they are. There's probably no way to find out who they are. But what we do know is one of the band members within the past few years, around the time that they had gotten started putting pencil to paper on this album, one of their band members passed away and their name was revealed at that time. I actually don't have it pulled up, but they released a person's identity and said this member has passed away, and then understandably this album comes out after and is just an emotional bombshell about this shared loss of a member.
Yeah. Yeah, and during the regular weekly pod, we did talk about how when you share a loss like that among your bandmates, it's different than, maybe if one person in the band lost a family member.
Right.
But it's like everybody
Yeah.
feels it, and so it definitely permeates. And then them starting as a black metal group as well, I think that's sort of colors their jazzy
Yep.
I
sort
feel
of
that,
thing
yeah.
and gives them a really deep emotional depth as well.
Yeah.
Also, just missing somebody that was important to the song creation process.
Yeah, you were playing the thing that they were helping you work on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very emotional.
That makes
Yeah.
sense too
Very
as to
difficult.
why they would have such a profound like genre shift too, because it's
Yeah.
like, well, we're not the same band in many ways.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very good excuse to do a clean break, try something new. Yeah, I would say this is post black metal in the way that post hardcore has a relation to hardcore. It's like you listen to a band like Drive Like Jehu, you know, old school post hardcore. And you're like, this is not a hardcore punk band. Nobody would say this is a hardcore punk band. You can absolutely tell everyone in this band used to be in a to be in a
Yes.
hardcore punk band.
Totally. You can feel it, yeah.
Yeah, so it has the same energy and intensity and all of that, but it also has this vocal style that's just plain strange. I would say the closest thing that would be popular that would be an analog would be like Idols. But
Yeah,
even
yeah.
that isn't a great comparison for how just snarly and strange the vocal delivery
Yeah,
is
this
on
is
this.
much more affected
Yeah.
than Idols, but
Right.
I see how that's a reference to Pull as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah. Loved Mamalik.
Yes. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I also, I mean, we're gonna do a whole video about it, but yeah, it's just a really dramatic album about loss,
Yeah.
about all kinds of loss. It doesn't just focus on their bandmate, although there's some really poignant moments that are very clearly about that. But as the name suggests, this is the name. It shares a name with a famous baseball player from the Oakland A's because they live in Oakland, California, and the A's are moving to, I think, Las Vegas. And it was, well, they just lost their other sports team in Oakland to Las Vegas as well.
Oh my god.
And people are fucking pissed because Oakland is one of those places that used to be like a real like working class town, and then became just completely unaffordable unless you work at like Salesforce, you know, for like top tier tech executives. And so this album's also mourning their loss of their what they feel like was their home. their
Yeah, just like
community.
having that identity stripped
Right.
forcefully and given to Las Vegas.
Yep.
instead.
Yeah. So it's like, well, we're losing our teams, but we're also, all of our friends are moving, and nobody here makes art anymore, and that whole thing. So
Man, these life transitions.
yeah,
We're going to fall. Everyone's feeling it.
Yeah, yeah.
in these projects, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, Mamalik was great. Should we talk about what came out on August 16th? Or what won, I guess, for Album of the Week?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Body Melt and the Garden of Death by Austin Holers.
Yes, another album heavily about grief and loss. Although I think this album is about the artist's mother having like a health scare.
Yes.
So she didn't necessarily pass away, at least at the time of recording of the album. But that like fear of loss and like already kind of mourning the relationship that you had and the health that she had
Yeah.
really permeates like every bit of this.
Yeah, and the health scare, you're coming face to face with that mortality. Even if she didn't die, that does really color your perspective going forward. Like your whole relationship changes. Like you said, also mourning the healthy person she once
Used
was.
to be, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and there's also that uncertainty. Like whenever you're describing it as like the garden of death, it's like death is everywhere. It feels like, you know, your mom's garden has turned into this like almost like haunted graveyard kind of thing because you're never gonna see it without thinking about what would happen to this garden if she wasn't there anymore and stuff.
Yeah. We've talked about the concept of the album, but musically it's pretty rooted in ambient.
Yeah, it's ambient.
Ambient, kind of psychedelic as well. I think
Yeah.
they called it rustic psychedelia
Yeah.
or something. It has a lot of these like field recordings. It,
Yeah,
it
it has
definitely
field
pulls heavily
recordings.
from the garden theming. Because I mean, even
Yeah.
more than just the mother's health scare, it's pinpointing this exact moment where they're like hugging in the garden,
Right.
Yes,
and it
and
just
after
turns
that.
that like 5 seconds into like a full like 40-minute album.
Yeah, and I think the progression there to make it like 40 minutes worth of material is you're going further and further internally.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it starts. It's like you progressively see less of the garden themed samples,
Like the
or,
cicadas
field recordings.
chirping.
Yeah, you see less of that as the album progresses because you're
Yeah.
getting further and further from that first degree sensation experience of the moment.
I love that idea of capturing just 5 seconds and going as deep as you can into
Yeah.
it. That's incredible. And it's so hard for a lot of people to talk about grief. And like it's
Yeah.
really hard to put into words. And so, I don't know. It's like very vulnerable.
Yeah.
I hate when people are like, she's so brave. But like
Yeah.
No, but this is a way to explore it, like through
Yeah.
the music and through the ambient music, especially because
Yeah.
it's so subtle. But when you listen to it and really sit with it, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like you kind of catch what she's putting out.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
very good
well-deserved
study.
dub for the Baltimore experimental scene.
Oh, yeah, she's also a member of Tomato Flower. who
Tomato
we
Flower.
saw
Oh, yeah.
open for Melt Banana.
Tomato Flower was great.
And we
Yeah.
saw another Baltimore band yesterday. They're all great. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just the bias of who ends up getting gigs here in Philly is only if you're good.
I
But,
think it's the coolest people in Baltimore.
Yeah,
get
yeah,
booked in
but,
Philly.
no, but it great scene. For whatever reason, doesn't come up a ton on our content. So a well-deserved dub representation situation.
Yes, the
for
band we
Baltimore.
saw last night. Oh, just kidding. I thought I had them pulled up right
They
now.
were called
but
Credit.
I don't.
They were called
Great.
Credit.
Yes, they were called Credit. Shout out to Credit. They also reminded me of Mama Leak as well.
And they reminded me a little bit of Tomato Flower, so I'm like, these are probably all just like friends.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I
All
don't
being
know.
influenced by each other in the same scene and shit. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, great. What's up next? What was for August 23rd?
Oh wait, I should put on two.
August 23rd, the
It
winner.
was-
Yep.
It was American Standard by Uniform.
We're just trying to cut the dead air, friend.
Yeah, sorry.
Just moving it
It's okay.
along.
Yeah.
It's all good.
No,
Yeah.
you can hear him clacking on the keyboard, so
Yeah,
it's not really
yeah.
that dead.
Yeah.
American Standard by Uniform. This was it unanimous? No, someone had a different vote. I forget. But
I think Julia was this Mag
Yeah.
Bay?
Oh
it
yeah,
Mag Bay.
it was when Magdalena Bay
Wah,
was
wah.
out.
But we like
Um,
this album more. So.
Yeah, the rest
No,
of us do anyway.
Uniform. This was I think it's gonna be. Well, we have another album to talk about. I'm not gonna spoil it. Shh.
No,
I
no,
love the
you're
Uniform project. It was just these like very anxious and brutal descriptions of the body.
Yeah,
Yeah, really all over
It's-
the place. Yeah, go for it.
I mean, it's about an eating disorder
Yeah.
and more broadly about every form of like neurotic ailment, I guess.
Of compulsion and
Yeah, of
neuroses
compulsion,
and
exactly.
anxiety.
Yeah, all of it. And it just is very hair raising, very this is also a band that's doing something different from what they've used to do. They used to be more of a straightforward industrial noise rock kind of band, and now they're doing this like pulsing fucking like Swans post rock. I mean, when you invoke Swans, you're suggesting they're doing something that is completely genreless, which they kind of are. Very noisy, but not in a noise rock way.
Yeah. They play a
yeah.
lot with the structures. They build a lot of space and
Yes.
stuff. There's a really fantastic like 20-minute track, and I'm usually one to be like, I need a short album. But I loved that 20-minute song. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll just put that shit on. But
It just
just
pulls
the
you in.
movements that it goes through. Yeah, it's not repetitive like a lot of
Right.
rock music and shit. They play around a lot.
Yeah, and it has very intense subject matter that it addresses head on very well in ways that feel very real. This was another one that along with Mamalik are albums you may have heard of. A lot of the stuff that we review on here are things that we are really the first people with a platform to be bringing to people's attention. But those two albums particularly did really well on the independent music circuit.
As they should. That's great. I was
right.
very happy to see, especially Mamalik. I saw got a lot of attention.
Yeah, Uniform has been all teed up to have a nice album, a well-received album cycle coming. I mean, Uniform has just progressively gotten more popular, and I guess kind of the same thing is true for Mamalik, but for Mamalik it was more of like a watershed moment. Of,
It was, like-
suddenly a ton of people who had never heard of them before are on board.
Yeah. There's a ton of reviews and shit
Yeah.
out for Mamalik too. Yeah, it's great. I love when
Yeah.
people get excited about stuff we've also talked about.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like we're
working.
holding hands and jumping in a circle.
Yay! Okay, are we ready to move on to the last one?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we didn't say a ton about Uniform, but you know,
Oh, I fucking
was
loved
good.
it.
It was
Yeah.
great. It was
Yeah.
good, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And then that also could be a potential candidate for a YouTube video. I guess there's definitely plenty of material there.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the most recent one to come out was "Last Lull of the Laurel" by Roxy Radcliffe. We did just talk about this a couple days ago, so it should be still top of mind. I think Kaylin was the main advocate for this one. So do you want to?
Sure
Jump
thing,
in.
yeah. I really loved this record. This was we've talked about a lot of vulnerable records, even in the past like 10 minutes.
It's a
of this
very
podcast.
emotional month. Yeah.
Everyone's really feeling it, but this truly, on a different level, feels like reading someone's diary. It is very stream of consciousness, spoken word. At least in the latter part of the album. I guess the
Yeah.
first half of it is a little more abstract, kind of all over the place. Again, genreless, but not totally genreless. It's a little more in the experimental electronic side of things, which I love. I think the artist describes it as like internet avant-garde cryo pop. For what that's worth.
Yeah,
It is very, very online. If you're someone who's on the
Very.
internet a lot and considers yourself like a netizen, this is an album for you. It's literally,
Yeah.
there's a lyric in this album where she's like, I wake up and I log on and I exist for like 10 hours and then I log off and then I go to sleep.
Yeah. Isn't there a Japanese term that really captures, is it like hikikomori or something?
I know what you're talking about, but I
That's
don't know it.
just like a person that lives in their house and they don't leave.
Yeah.
And they use the internet all day.
yeah.
That's basically, it's describing that sort of existence and the push and pull between, well, this has led me to so much productive self-discovery, and it's made me realize I'm not the kind of person who fits into the small town community I was born into. However, because I found all this community online, it makes me really scared to go move to the city where there's other people who are more similar to me and interact with them in real life because I'm so used to this. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just like captures that feeling, and she articulates her thoughts on this so
in such a nuanced way that you really see like all sides of this dilemma. It's like overthinking the album, you know. I really liked that this also pulled from some of those like kind of bro country influences too, which
Yeah,
it's not
and butt
immediately
Yeah,
apparent.
butt rock for sure.
But yeah, it is once again the like small town kind of vibe of like this is the only way you know how to express your emotions is through like punching walls to counting crows.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, brother.
Same.
But this was great. It's fully an hour and a half. This is Roxy's 13th full-length album. Again, just like the type of work, effort, and output that you can have if you're just like online and making music all the time, every day, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it's all killer, no filler. Don't let that output schedule fool you. This is a lot of meticulous work went into every second of this, for sure.
Yes, it's beautiful. It is many layered. Anyone who likes pop music or like weirdo electronic music will definitely enjoy this release.
Yeah, and you fully won me over with this one. I'm pretty on board now.
Yeah.
You're a Roxy Radcliffe head.
It is
Yeah.
deeply confessional. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's queer to the bone.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
there's
love
a lot of
that.
that.
There's a lot of that.
Pretty central to a lot of what happens on the album.
Also, kind of a breakup album too. There's
There's like
so
multiple
much. There's
breakups
so
in
much.
this album. I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I think
many
there's at least
levels.
There's
Yeah.
breakups. There's new relationships forming.
Right.
There's a lot going
Well,
on.
and
you
your
hear about all
relationship
of
with
it.
your community as well. That's also
Yeah.
a relationship.
She was very, very meticulous about putting every word from the album on the Bandcamp lyrics, which I am extremely thankful for because
Yeah.
like about the first I mean, it's a progressive situation, so it's like later in the album, it's more you can hear everything that's being said because there's less chaos happening sonically. But early on, there's just so much going on that I would have completely missed like the first 3 tracks worth of storytelling. So yeah, I would also recommend going and giving that a read. And then it really gives you the full scoop. It really, I mean, I sat there and read it, which took me like 30 minutes plus of just reading, and I really felt like like you said, like I had like understood this person's perspective and experience in a way that a lot of albums can't really convey. So.
Yeah. I love when the lyrics are included. Obviously, I understand like if an artist doesn't include them or whatever. But no, I love sitting down to read them as like a separate practice.
Yeah, it also
such a
makes
good
it
idea.
easier for people who don't speak the same language as you. And
Yeah,
they can
totally.
plop that
Right.
into translate, which is what we have to do whenever we find an album that's not in English.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That was great. So 5 excellent albums. What are we thinking?
Yeah.
What's
what
the
are we
pick?
lining up? I'm kind of between 2 personally.
I'm going with Mamalik. I'm not
I'm
not
between
backing down.
I'm between Mamalik and Uniform for me.
I'm kind of between
Taste.
Uniform and Roxy.
Oh.
After we talked about that album, I was like, man, that was a really, really good album. It was great.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Last Lull of the Laurel.
Oh my god. Well, I'm voting for Uniform.
Okay, well, I'm voting for Mamalik.
Oh man, I think I'm the tiebreaker then.
Ooh.
That's crazy. That's so much responsibility. What do I do, guys?
You should
Well,
vote for
which album
Mamalik
did
because
you
it
like
was the
more?
best one. Think about it. Have you ever heard an album that sounds like that? Like Mamalik?
Or like Uniform.
Shut up.
I think I'm gonna have to give it to the girls with this one and go for Roxy Ratcliffe.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Sorry, guys.
No, congratulations. That's a great pick. It's a great album.
All right.
I have no regrets.
Yeah, it's a deserving
I think she
winner.
deserves it.
Congratulations, Roxy.
Beautiful work. It's like an hour and a half long. She put a lot of effort
yeah, go
into
listen
it.
to it. It's good.
Go run
Good
a
stuff.
bath, have a cry, put the album on,
Yeah. I don't know. For me, it was...
scroll your phone.
It was a... like, this is a lifestyle I've never really led, so very... But I've at least been adjacent to it, right? Like, I have spent time online, and I know people who basically have
You've
lived
been
like
on the
this.
internet.
Right,
Yes,
so,
yes.
I know...
It's not just the online thing that, like, obviously that plays a very big role in this album, but it's also the dilemma of staying comfortable and also being kind of miserable and rotting in your bedroom, or
Yeah.
moving and choosing to, you know, pursue your, not like real
Right.
life. I don't want to make that dichotomy between like your real life and your like online life, because
Yeah.
those are both,
It's all real. Yeah.
it is all real, but you know, just pursuing like what type of relationships you have the capacity for.
Yeah.
And it's still like an ongoing situation.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like, I never experienced it in the intense way that she talks about it on here, but
Right.
I don't know. I had a similar choice with similar bases. It's like, I guess, you know, if I'd stayed in Murfreesboro my whole life, I probably wouldn't have the same opportunities to interact with the people that we talk about on this
Yeah.
show in real life
Exactly.
that I do right now.
and this album was also out on New Year's Snow, which is
New Year's Snow? Next year's Snow? I gotta double check
It's
that.
one of those, but yes, this is a label that does other releases that we've reviewed as well. We do like to see repeat offenders on the label side.
Yes.
It's always refreshing. There's other people doing some similar curation work to what we do. Okay.
Well, any...
Um,
Kaylin's doing some research.
Yeah, Kayla's doing
Great.
some-
Everyone's looking at me like I'm supposed to be leading the podcast
Well, I
while
don't know,
I'm
you
doing
said-
research.
I
okay.
mean, I'm saying congrats to Roxy, you know.
That's Roxy.
do
Do
we-
we have honorable mentions?
Yeah,
we can go ahead and talk about honorable
I
mentions.
do have an honorable mention, actually.
Next year's Snow.
next
next
year's
year.
snow.
Next year's
Snow.
Snow.
I actually did just talk about this one a couple days ago on our podcast, so forgive me for repeating myself, but I would love to give a shout out to Let's Be Having You by Eva 808. This is good. We talked a lot about club escapism during that pod episode and kind of that recession pop Charlie XCX thing going on, where like you gotta party because life sucks so bad. But this is about like, what if the club also sucks? What if you also
Oh no.
take too much ketamine and you dissociate, and
is the
it's a bad time. It's like a deep,
Yeah.
dark, dancey thing.
It's the end result of Brat Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good time. Shout out Eva 808.
Yeah. It's very confrontational. I like that
Yeah.
album a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Another album I really liked from this past month was Oxy by Oxy.
Yes.
This was like jazz rap, but with a heavier emphasis on the jazz. Improvised jazz, I think. More kind of like a free jazz approach.
It was a mix of both, I think.
Yes, so very boisterous, and the features are great as well, of course. So both of the styles really complement each other, because when you say jazz rap, people usually think of rap that has like jazz samples that are a
Yeah,
little more
they-
like rhythmic and
I
repetitive.
think
Yeah.
of like
like Tribe
shit.
Called Quest.
yeah, like Tribe Called Quest is a great example. I
this
was
is
gonna say
great.
Injury Reserve, but also that.
Yeah.
Sure. But I feel like this one does jazz rap in such a cool way
Yeah.
that fans of both genres will definitely enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. It is a unique take on that. They really do just have. I mean, it's a jazz band with rappers on it, in a way that most jazz rap albums are not.
Yeah. Or like raps with jazz samples.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kind of the other way
puts
around.
The jazz first, which is cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool album. Good pick.
Hold on, I have one.
Michael's got one, everybody.
I have one. A very interesting album was the Optical Photoconductor Through His Eyes EP by Corey and Her. Excited to hear more music from this person. It's basically I mean, I don't really know how to even describe it. You really just got to check it out for yourself. It's extraordinarily fast-paced. It's a rock opera with a person teaming up with their like photocopier or something to fight the AI singularity or something.
Oh, shit.
fun.
But it's like I don't know. It just has so much personality, so much life. The music video to go along with it is extremely charming, but also very impressive. Yeah, I mean, musically it's crazy. The only thing I would really compare it to is Cardiacs, except it's like a more like digital glitchy version of that, which means it's even tighter, even faster, even more mind-bending in some ways. Although, I mean, Cardiacs are kind of irreplaceable for how much this, like, you really recorded this shit? That's crazy. Who the fuck did you find who could play this on guitar? But yeah, this is great, good stuff. I'd like to see internet music be taken in this direction more so in the future.
Another option for the future of internet music is Time Is But the Drawing of a Sword by Lindsay Algieri. This was a really pretty ambient pop album, and what really drew me into this one was that it comes with a free point and click choose your own adventure game.
Yes, I know this.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
point and
no.
click game.
It was so cute, so cute. I loved playing the game along with the album. I feel like it just added a really fun dimension to it. It was great.
Yeah, love those like super multimedia, I guess, projects.
An
you would call
interactive
them.
experience.
Oh wow, no,
An
barf.
immersive experience.
wow.
You. No, it's just audio visual all connected together, and I love that like cross-disciplinary creation where it's like they're a game designer and a musician and this and that, and then you will kind of get to experience it all at once. It's like such a cool way of expressing your personality.
Yes,
I don't
love
know.
it.
I love it.
Um,
Big fan of those types of projects. We've had a few of those.
Yeah,
so.
like the new media where you also
Yeah.
have like a PDF file to download and explore things. I don't
You
know,
have a
it's pretty
worksheet.
cool. Yeah.
Give me homework, bitch.
I liked Travelers by the Accra Quartet.
Oh, that was great.
It's named after a city in Africa, and I found people pronounce it Accra and Accra and everything else. So sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I really couldn't figure it out. I guess Obama couldn't either because he also pronounced it like two different ways in a speech.
Wow.
So I don't feel too bad about not being able to figure that one out. But yeah, so this is like a free experimental jazz kind of thing ish, I guess. It really just takes these little like catchy little motifs and then kind of lets them breathe and gives them space to develop, and kind of shows all the emotional ramifications of these little melodies that could have just been like hooks to a pop song or something. really lets them linger and speak and investigates them and all of that.
I really liked A Grand Stream by Smote.
That
It's
would've
like a
been-
really
that was the other one I was
good,
gonna mention.
like super droney psych rock kind of a situation.
Love.
It had like some pretty well-deserved buzz online too before we got to it. So
Yeah, you may have heard of that one.
Hell yeah.
It was it's about escaping the world and living on a farm with your friends.
Oh my god.
It's pretty
The
cool.
dream. We have so many honorable mentions, but I want to keep throwing them out there.
I know, I still have more.
I'm done.
There are a lot of great albums. Armcross
Yeah.
and their album Coat of Arms. We found this
Coat
band
of Arma.
Arma.
Coat
It's
of
misspelled
Arma.
on purpose.
by Armcross, Coat of Arma. I found this band when they had 0 monthly listeners on Spotify.
Oh shit.
I found
they?
I found this band because
because
my
I put it
friend-
on my list.
Well, well, you put it on your list, but I don't think you even knew this, or I don't think I've mentioned it until now. But my friend runs Retrack Records and sent it to me.
Oh, cool.
Oh shit.
But I also it also ended up on your list without me telling you that, so I was like, okay.
I
perfect.
love that shit. When
Yeah.
one of us finds a cool album, we're like, oh wait, I know that person.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
I
I
love
don't know
that.
the person behind this, but I know the person who released it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, this was a really interesting take on the like Y2K revival. Again, kind of pulling back to the recession pop thing. And the escapism of it all, but not even the escapism because it's also like the downside to the indie sleaze
Yeah.
thing where your like roommate sucks and your apartment
Right.
smells bad and
Yeah.
you have all these problems and you're trying to just like record your record and be a pop star, but there
Yeah.
are all of these things in your way and the lifestyle is not as glamorous as you may have once been led to believe.
Yeah, it puts a fun spin on that like late 2000s bombastic pop sound. The liner notes of the album describe it as like a personal exorcism for the singer, and especially the early tracks definitely feel like that. It's very unhinged.
Yes, I couldn't even really decide if I liked this or not at first, and then I was like, this is just so bizarre and again just like a caricature of that time.
Don't you love an
Yeah.
album that does that?
Yeah, and then
like-
it grew on me. I was like, I don't know if I like this, but I have to keep listening to it. Again,
Right.
like the Magdalena Bay album, I guess we can talk about. I don't know. I guess that's an honorable mention.
Well, you had a similar experience too,
mention-
where you started listening to it more, and you
Yeah.
kind of just it
Julia looks like
warmed
she
up
just
to
saw a
it. And
ghost.
Like, do we have like mice?
I got a notification on my iPad.
For
What?
No, I thought they made a noise.
No, I
thought
heard up
maybe
there.
that-
I think you
I
have a
heard
cat upstairs.
Scuttling. She does not. She does not walk like that. She does not scuttle. That was a scuttle. That was
Oh,
Well,
not.
I think we're
outside
fine.
noise mouse review.
Well,
Yeah.
another album I really liked was Wilu Rabakutu by Keanu Nelson,
Okay.
who is an Aboriginal Australian
yes.
guy from a town of about 400 people, who made this really beautiful sort of folky guitar music, but still very experimental at the same time. He released it last year, and the people really liked it, and so it's getting re-released on a much bigger label right about now to reach a wider audience. So.
I love that. Yeah, and he
That one.
recorded also with like Casio keyboards and stuff. So it has
yeah,
a
it's all
very
DIY
yeah,
and lo-fi. Yeah,
love it.
really pretty.
I think that's it. I think
Alright.
I'm done now.
I don't know. We've been going for like 40 minutes. I think we can just leave it there if y'all
Yeah,
want.
yeah, no, I mean, I think we did it. Congratulations,
I think we
think
did
so.
it. Congrats
Roxy
to,
Radcliffe.
Roxy Radcliffe, winner of Album of the Month,
Yes,
You did good,
August
girl.
2024.
yes,
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Great
And
stuff
go
from
listen to
everyone.
all of her music. She's got plenty of it.
yes.
Um,
Go do a deep
I think
dive.
she said starting when she was like 7 or something.
Wow.
Was that? Am I misremembering?
I'm not sure.
she's
There was
been at it
something
for a
about her
while.
being 7 and doing something
Yeah.
musically. Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Well, amazing
Awesome.
work.
yeah.
Comment your favorite album in the comment section.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you had any favorites from August, for sure, feel free to send
I think
them.
it's time to take a nap.
And we've got some tapes for sale. We check our
yeah.
pin posts and stuff
yeah.
to go buy some tapes. They're in Houston, New York, and Philadelphia.
Yeah, in Houston at Nice Sounds, in Philly at Laundrette and Sit and Spin, in New York at Limited to One, and
Record Grouch.
Record Grouch, and
Another one.
Deep
Deep Cuts.
Cuts. Yep, got them all.
Yeah, so
Off the dome.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
nice job.
go check those. I mean, I made the shipping labels.
Oh, Michael remembers.
You've also
Um,
repeated that
I've repeated it like
800
a lot, yeah,
times
and
now.
Well,
I can say it in my sleep.
Do we want to say the albums also, just so everyone's aware?
Yeah, so Don't Fall Asleep. Let me see if I can get these. Don't Fall Asleep by My Wife's an Angel. Blemishes. Ambivert by Blemishes. Encore County Ground by Bagel Fan Club. There Is a Well by Shallow Water. And I'm missing...
Laurels of the
Laurels of the End of History by C. May.
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, we've got some tapes for sale. Go buy them. This was the free monthly podcast episode. You might be watching it on YouTube. You might just be listening to it. But if you're interested in getting...
If you're one of the 3 people who listens to this on Spotify every month, what's up?
You might be
Just
watching
saying.
this in 28 parts on TikTok.
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm just saying as well, if you're interested in supporting us more and if you want more weekly podcast episodes from us, you can go to patreon.com/outside noise and figure out how you can support us there.
And we'll probably also be selling, like, merchandise and stuff. So.
Yeah, we're working on it.
We're
We're
getting
working on
very,
it.
we're in spitting distance of having things to sell.
Yes, yes.
But we already
please
do
God.
if you live in one of the 3 cities that we mentioned.
We'll just
Philly,
go
New
drop
York,
it off.
or, Houston.
And send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe.
great.
Okay. Goodbye, guys. It's been good.